Getting right to it, the supplies you're gonna need are some needles. You know your locks best. Make sure that you have a needle that is thick enough to go through the bead size that you want and through your lock, and then some thread that matches, or as close as you can get it, the color of your hair, and some glass beads. You can choose whatever size you want. I got size 6/0, 6 divided by 0. Yeah, that size. My locks are pretty thick and some of them are a little chunky, so this size was perfect for me. They weren't too large and they weren't disappearing into the lock, which was great. I went through my head and chose the locks that I wanted to add my lock sprinkles to and marked them out ahead of time. I feel like this is just a time saver. I chose locks that had mature bottoms for the most part, except for the ones that were framing my face. And the locks that were thick, we don't really want to put any like extra stress or pressure on our thin locks, even though these beads don't weigh like pounds or anything. Still want to be conscious of how we are treating our hair. I am not a seamstress, so this part was a little bit hard for me, but you want to take a length of thread and put that through the eye of your needle. For the length of your thread, I just chose one that was the length of the lock that I was working on when it was doubled. So again, you want to have a thread that is doubled up and it's the length of your lock. Then you're going to go ahead and make sure that that is knotted on the bottom and add a bead to that knot. You'll know if your knot is not big enough. Haha, if your knot is not, if your bead slides off the bottom, which we do not want. Then to start the process, I just bring the needle through the end of my lock and pull the string through. You want to make sure you're doing this slowly and that the two sides of your string are even, because you don't want any knots to form while you're pulling that bead through. Make sure that you're going slow. Then I get another bead and go on the opposite side of that lock, and as you can see here, after the bead slides back into place, I have a bead on either side of the lock. After I complete those bottom two beads, I start working my way up the lock. I didn't really do any particular pattern or spacing. I just made sure that I liked how it looked. Again, these are lock sprinkles. It's not supposed to be like super duper uniform. I honestly like when some are spaced out and when some are clustered. Again, I'm just making sure that my string is straight and taut and that there's no knot within the bead or the string itself. This is not a short process by any means. I have my smoothie on deck. I have my shows on deck. I feel like the beading isn't necessarily the longest part, but making sure your string length matches and tying the knots is what really did me in. And tying the knot at the end of each lock sprinkle. That was something that was really hard for me. If y'all have an easier way to do it, let me know in the comments below. I usually made a knot at the top of my lock, and when you do that, you want to make sure that your knot isn't super duper tight, because you do want to be able to take these out. We do not need thread and glass beads just stuck in our hair permanently. On some locks, I just cut the string and that seemed to make the beads stay. But I don't want y'all walking out here sprinkling beads everywhere, and I hope that I'm not sprinkling beads everywhere. So we're going to see how that holds up. At this point, I was checking to see how the sprinkles were looking so far. Just looking in the mirror, seeing how it would look with my hair on either side. Like I said, I usually rock the side part, so I wanted to make sure that it still looked a little bit evenly distributed when I did flip it over. And I felt like a couple ones at the top were naked, so I went ahead and added some lock sprinkles to those ones. Again, I'm repeating that same process right here, adding a bead onto a piece of knotted string, putting the needle through the base of my lock, adding on another bead to the other side of that to make it look, you know, kind of double-sided, and then going up the length of my lock. This is what it ended up looking like. I'm super happy with the results. I feel like it adds a little yum saying, especially if you don't have a retwist or you just plan on, you know, getting a little glammed up but don't necessarily want to style your hair. This adds a little spice to it, adds a little something to your daily look. But yeah, if this tutorial helped you, let me know in the comments below. If this is something you're interested in doing, also let me know if I didn't explain something clearly or if you have an easier way to do something. And I look forward to seeing y'all in the next video. Bye.